Hey guys, it's Mrs. Willoughby again, coming to you from my basement into your living room or wherever you're watching, and also wearing one of my favorite t-shirts that you don't know who those guys are, but moms and dads, you might. If you don't know who they are, I suggest taking a listen because NSYNC's the best boy band ever. If you're a Backstreet Boys fan, I know we're gonna have to think about if we're gonna be friends or not. Just kidding, I like Backstreet Boys too. All right, getting to it. Today we're going to look at ways to practice our math facts and specifically looking at multiplication and division. So I'm going to show you a couple of different games today. I'll give you some examples and then I'll also link all these examples in Google Classroom and on our learning menu for this week. So let's get into it. Fact fluency with multiplication and division. So our learning target for this is we can fluently multiply and divide within 100 using strategies such as the relationship between multiplication and division. And we'll get a little bit more into that in just a minute here. But I want to talk about the word fluently. We've talked about this throughout the school year, but the word fluently would mean that it should be fairly easy for you. You should be able to come up with the answer, or our goal would be for you to come up with the answer to the problem within about 3 seconds. So we want it to be correct and we want it to be quick. That's two parts of math fluency, okay? So let's get into a strategy that you might be familiar with, which is fact families. So if you know your fact families, it's really going to help you out with these basic math facts that we'll be practicing. So as a review, multiplication and division are related just like addition and subtraction are related. And I know you've worked on fact families with addition and subtraction the last couple of years. So you should be pretty familiar with fact families through addition and subtraction. So let's look up at this example again. There's 3 things I know that we've talked about with fact families is that it has to have all 3 of the same numbers in every equation. They have to be true, the equations, and they all have to be different. And so looking at this, we have 8 plus 6 equals 14. When we know it's addition, we can just do that turnaround fact that 6 plus 8 is 14. Then I can turn those into subtraction by, if I know those two, I also can know 14 minus 6 equals 8. If I know that, I should also be able to know that 14 minus 8 equals 6. So knowing that they're all related and seeing those relationships between those makes it a lot easier for me to answer those questions. So if I know 8 plus 6 equals 14, if I see 14 minus 8, I should be able to make that connection that 6 is that missing number. So when I'm looking at multiplication and division, it's the same ideas. We'll have 4 equations, 2 multiplication and 2 division. They're going to include all of the same numbers, so all 3 of those numbers, 8, 6, and 48, will be in each of those equations, and they have to be true. So 8 times 6 equals 48. I can do the turnaround fact of 6 times 8 equals 48. Then if I take that product and I put that at the beginning, 48 divided by 6 equals 8. 48 divided by 8 equals 6. So that should be a really quick review of fact families for you. We've worked on those just a little bit throughout the year this year, but just a reminder that fact families can be really helpful when we're working on our fact practice. And they're not the only strategy though, right? So you could count backwards, you could use repeated addition, you could do some of those other strategies we've talked about, but this will be one that once you get the hang of it can be a quick, easy strategy for you. So I'm going to show you a game, and I believe we've played a little bit in our classroom already, but this is just a reminder of something easy that you can play at home to practice your multiplication facts, and that's multiplication war or multiplication top it. And so what you'll do is you'll get out a deck of cards and take out all the face cards. So that's the king, queen, and the jack. And then you're going to deal out the cards half to each player if you have 2, or if you have more than 1 player, you just kind of divvy them all up until all the cards are gone and everybody has about the equal number of cards. Remember, in our classroom, we kind of just split the deck and look to see if the piles are even. It's not really a big deal because we're just playing the game. They don't have to be exactly the same. We want them to be about the same, though, to make it fair. So once you're ready and the cards are dealt, you flip over 2 cards each. So I would flip over 2 cards, my partner, or you would flip over 2 cards, and we're going to multiply our own cards. So if I have 5 and 3, I'm going to multiply those and know that the product is 15. You might have 2 and 8. I know that that's 16. And so we're going to look at whose product is the largest. So you got 16, I got 15. So your product is larger. You would get to take all of the cards. And then we would repeat that process. Okay? So a couple of situations. What if we get the same product? Then we would each pull out 2 more cards and play another round. And then whoever gets the highest product of that round gets all of the cards from the first round and the second round. And then another one, looking at who wins. Sorry, my face is in the way, so I'll move my face a little bit. Who wins? It's the player with the most cards at the end of the game. If you want to keep playing until one person has the whole deck, sometimes it works out that way. Or whenever you run out of time, whoever has the most cards is the winner. So I do have an example video that Miss Bishop and her daughter put together for you guys of them playing. I would have made Ellie play with me, but she's really not great at multiplication yet. So Miss Bishop was able to share her video with me that she used with her kids. So you can watch that if you want a little bit more detail. I know I went over it really fast, but she does a great job of modeling and you can see them play. I'll also share this slideshow with moms and dads and list it on our resources for this week so you can go back and watch it and look at the rules again too. A couple of other games that you can play that also I'll link. There are some online games that you can play with multiplication, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into how you play them. They're all really pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you what they kind of look like really, really quickly. So one of them is water rush multiplication. So basically you are on a jet ski and you are going to answer some questions. So I'll answer these. I'll go through and see 2 times 5. Oh, that's 10. You'll notice that if you get the wrong answer, like let's see if I put 20. I know it's not 20. It's just going to exit out for you. So you'll be able to pick the right one. And I think it lets you pick as many times as you want. So I'll kind of go through quickly. Looking at these, this one's not timed, so it's a good one that you can kind of stop and think about it. But still the goal of making sure that you're trying to go as fast as you can to get through these. So that you have more time. So then once you get through so many of them, it has you use the arrow keys to kind of go through this obstacle course. And so it'll have you start. It's counts down from up at the top. You can see you can move. If you do the arrow key up, it goes faster. Braking is down. You can do left and right so that you don't run into things. But you'll know that you're done with that game when it says this. You either crash into something or your time is up, and then you're able to either X out of the game or you can refresh and play another round of it. Okay? There's another one, Going Nuts. I think we've played this one before in our classroom. And so you select a level, and this one's really just simple. You're going to drag your squirrel to go down, and then it asks you to answer a question. You'll know you're all done with that one when it says level completed, and then you'll progress through the next levels. A final one that is kind of a fun one. It's a live one that you can play with other people. So if you get your friends to play at the same time, it's a multiplication jump with some little penguins here. It's very similar as well. It's going to give you, you can make a player name, and then you'll press play now when you're ready to join and start. See, it has other people that are playing at the same time as me. What you're going to do is you're going to look at these icebergs. It'll have a question down at the bottom. So 1 times 2, I know that that's 2. So I'm going to jump to the little 2 one. So you click on it to make it jump. If you click on the wrong one, so for example, if I do 12, my little penguin falls off and I get to try again. Okay, so you'll know that that one's done. It'll say that who got in what place. There's the finish line at the end as well. So that's a fun one. So there's lots and lots of ones. You can also go on Extra Math. Those are fun games to play. Division games are a little bit more tricky for like card games and things. And so I have shared some division online games with you as well. Again, you can always still access our Extra Math You can always do Prodigy is on there with some math. You can also get on Freckle. Those are all good ones to play. You can have your mom or dad print off just fact practice pages from the internet. Those are good too, to just give yourself a time test. But again, I'll go through these ones really quickly just so you can kind of get an idea, but you'll probably be able to figure them out. So if you don't want to watch all of them, you don't have to. But one of them is called Drag Race Division. So this one, again, is a live one that you can play with other friends. So you can get on at the same time and play against each other. You can change your name. I'm not going to do that for now. You can wait until other players, otherwise it's going to just have you play against the computer, which I'll do right now. And so in order to go faster, you have to answer the question. So the questions are down here below. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So you see if I'm this blue one right here, 7 divided by 1 is 7. It gives me like a little boost when I answer the problem correctly. And then the goal would be to try and answer them and be the first one to win the race. Talking and solving division is really tricky at the same time. You'll know that it's finished. It'll have the finish line, and then it'll give you your little ranking here of who won the race. Another one you can play online, and again, I'll share these links through Google Classroom and on our playlist. Our menu for the week is Frogtastic Division. So this one's kind of fun. It goes, you'll see these little colorful balls that go through kind of slowly. And then if you look at this frog in the middle that I'm spinning with my mouse, it has a little ball in its mouth, so it's yellow. So you want to try and get at least 3 in a row. And if you shoot it to make it hit, like let's say I want to go towards those yellow ones, if I get at least 3 in a row, it'll give me a problem. And then I can solve it. If I get it right, then it makes those go away. So let's say I do that. Then it'll make them go away. And then you want to try and get all of the little balls to go away before it goes through this little path. And you don't want it to get to your, I think they're frog eggs. So you'd continue to play. I'm going to shoot it at one. It makes them disappear. If I get it wrong, for example, if I do this, it's just going to give me an X. I think, again, it gives you a couple of different chances to just get the answer right, but it may not make the little balls go away. So you keep playing and playing. It'll tell you game is over when your turn is over, and you can always play again. Then our last game that's on there, again, another quick review, Driver Highway. It's a racing game, so you're going to use your up and down arrows. It says to swipe, but if you're on a computer, it's just your up and down arrows. And then you're going to try and avoid the different obstacles that it has. So this just kind of lets you practice a little bit. When you're ready, you can press that next button. It's going to give you some problems. So again, this one kind of gives you a couple of chances. So if I do the wrong answer, it's going to give me an X, but it'll let me try again with a different one, I think, until I get it right. So we'll do a couple of these. Yeah, I think it doesn't do any penalties if you get anything wrong. But it gives you so many. And then you get to race. So I won't go through that, but there's little obstacles that you can go over you don't want to race. So the quicker you get through them, I think the better chance you have of getting through things. So hopefully these are helpful. Hopefully you will play some of them, or if you have other ideas of ways to practice your math facts, then I'd love to hear them. You can email me or share those on Google Classroom with me or at one of our Zoom sessions. And hopefully these are getting to be easy for you, and they'll help you really be successful in Math Beyond. So these math facts are really important for you to keep practicing. I miss you. I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you in next week's video.